Once voted the most beautiful place in America, Sleeping Bear Dunes in Michigan is an amazing national seashore. Come with us as we show you towering bluffs, sand beaches, a rich maritime history, and of course, dunes.
This is Magellan.
And this is Greyhound.
Where we make videos about epic road trips, kayaking, hiking, and other outdoor adventures.
This is part of our epic 3-week road trip where we visited all 5 of the U.S. Great Lakes.
Located on the northwest coast of the lower peninsula of Michigan, as well as the North and South Manitou Islands, Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore is a popular summer destination. Here are 17 spots to check out, which we did over the course of 2.5 days.
Our first spot is Good Harbor Bay Beach on Lake Michigan, a great place to lay out a towel and relax. If you're feeling brave, you can take a dip in the waters of Sleeping Bear Bay, but despite being summer, it was still pretty chilly.
It's very cold.
It's very cold?
It's very cold.
I was freezing.
And I was not.
Plenty of people take kayak pit stops here too. To the north, you can see North Manitou Island, and to the west is Pyramid Point, our next spot.
Pyramid Point requires a little bit of uphill hiking and is about a mile and change round trip. The first part of the hike is through a maple beech forest. Before long, you'll reach the Pyramid Point Overlook, where you'll have a wide panorama of Lake Michigan. Here you'll see the waters of the Manitou Passage and the North and South Manitou Islands in the distance. You can also explore little side trails on the bluffs.
I should have worn pants because once you get up on these bluffs, these biting flies are really nasty. So tip for pros, wear pants and long sleeves or hike really fast. Ouch. Ow.
Our next several stops are a part of the Pierce Stocking Scenic Drive, a great one-way loop through forests and dunes that we suggest going first thing in the morning for. This overlook has great views of the 130-foot deep Glen Lake, known for its blue waters.
One of the reasons why the lake is so blue and not brown like typical lakes is because the lake is fed by groundwater and not by water washing down from the hills.
At the Dune Overlook, you'll not only see dunes, but wide views of Lake Michigan, the Manitou Islands, Pyramid Point, Sleeping Bear Bay, and Glen Lake again. Cottonwood is a really pretty 1.5-mile trail through the dunes.
Back in the day, people actually drove these dunes mobiles up and down the dunes. This is a strange landscape. I would probably say the closest I could compare it to is Africa, maybe, the savannas.
At 450 feet above sea level, the Lake Michigan Overlook is one of the most popular spots in the park that gives stunning views of Lake Michigan and the dunes on the whole. Whether you take it all in from the wooden deck or explore from many of the other vantage points, this view is worth all the sand trudging you had to do to get to it. The National Park Service clearly tries to discourage people from climbing down, and for a good reason. This actually reminded us of a volcano we went into in Death Valley National Park, except
I think this is a lot harder to go down than UBEV in Death Valley. And I see why people have to get rescued.
Located right next to the Lake Michigan Overlook is the Sleeping Bear Dunes Overlook. Not only the tallest dune in the park, but why the park is called Sleeping Bear Dunes. The story goes that a mother bear and her 2 cubs were swimming across Lake Michigan. The cubs drowned, later becoming the 2 Manitou Islands, and the mother found her way to shore, where she became this giant 2,000-year-old dune. Due to wind erosion, it is now only 100 feet tall from its previous height of 230. The last of the notable spots along the pier-stocking scenic drive is the North Bar Lake Overlook, with views of the Empire Bluffs as well. The lake itself is usually separated by the sandbar you see from Lake Michigan, and is a popular swimming spot.
Yo, check this out. People actually skied down these dunes. That's crazy.
Esch Beach is located at the mouth of Otter Creek with picturesque views of Platte Bay in Lake Michigan. While dogs can't go everywhere in Sleeping Bear Dunes, they are allowed on the right side of the beach when you first enter.
Zeus didn't want his little dainty paws to touch the sands.
To the north are the Empire Bluffs, our next thing to do. The Empire Bluffs are a beautiful 1.5-mile hike through a maple beech forest up to a big payoff overlooking Lake Michigan. Once at the top, there's a short wooden boardwalk. You'll get views of North Bar Lake, South Manitou Island, and the area where you saw the Lake Michigan and Sleeping Bear Dunes overlooks. We highly suggest you explore past this point, since you can go farther along the dunes along a trail. And, depending on the time of year, see wildflowers. The Dune Climb is probably the most famous thing to do here. Located on the eastern edge of Sleeping Bear Dunes Plateau, it's a 3.5-mile climb out to Lake Michigan and can take up to 3 to 4 hours.
I don't know how fun this looks, but we're gonna do it. Taking one for the team. For you guys. It's all for you guys. Yo. Workout. Oh my god, I'm already tired.
Once you get to the top of the first dune, you can look back behind for some great views. In fact, the farther you go up, the views will get better and better.
All right, we're calling it at the top of this ridge. Magellan's gonna run to the top because he can.
Did we do straws?
Yeah, I volunteered Magellan to do this. I'm gonna stay in the shade and video him while he does this amazing feat. Oh my god, I think he's gonna make it. He's so crazy. He's crazy. He did it.
As you can see, once we got to the top, it just keeps going. In fact, it's another 1.5 miles or so before you can even see Lake Michigan. And we've had enough of this in this heat.
I think running down will be easier than running up.
Fairy dancing gazelle.
All right, we're racing. 3, 2, 1. Oh, shit. He's already. Never mind. Oh my god, he's already in front of me. He's cheating.
And here's the look of total shock at what just transpired. The historic port of Glen Haven is our next place to stop, Before you head into the village, you'll get great views of Lake Michigan and the Manitou Islands at Sleeping Bay Beach. There is the Cannery Boathouse Museum, a large public exhibit showing various small craft used on the Great Lakes. It was first used as a warehouse to store wood and later cherries.
This is the Type T Series motor lifeboat.
Nearby is a blacksmith shop built in 1812 with on-site volunteer demonstrations. Down the road from Glen Haven Village is the Maritime Museum. It was built in 1901 and showcases exhibits involving life-saving services, the U.S. Coast Guard, and shipping on the Great Lakes, which had its fair share of shipwrecks in the Manitou Passage. They even have a replica captain's wheel that I thought was really cool. There's also a cool boathouse next door to the museum that you can check out. There's also a path to check out the beach in Sleeping Bear Bay on Lake Michigan.
The Heritage Trail is a 22-mile, mostly paved, non-motorized way to get around Sleeping Bear Dunes. For this one, we brought our folding bikes and wound up riding a 3-mile stretch from Glen Haven to Glen Arbor. You can walk this trail as well. Along the way, we saw historic structures, beautiful forests, and stopped at the beach right outside Glen Arbor. On the way back, we went a little off course south to check out Glen Lake.
Glen Arbor is a small walkable town near Glen Haven and has a bunch of shops, markets, and places to eat. We ate at the extraordinarily packed Cherry Republic, which is a gift shop, restaurant, winery, and alehouse, all featuring cherries. Since nearby Traverse City is the cherry capital of the world, it went without saying that we had to try the cherries.
I'm so hungry. Give me food.
We got a cherry soda, cherry beer, and a meat and cheese snack plate with dried cherries and jams. Our next spot is Inspiration Point, a peaceful viewpoint which looks out onto Glen Lake, Alligator Hill, and North Manitou Island. On the National Park Service website, they described Inspiration Point as such. It's a great place to take your significant other for a little romantic atmosphere, and that it provides the perfect finale for any trip.
Our last spot is this small historic fishing town of Leland, the boat launch point you would leave from if you were going to the Manitou Islands. In addition to fishing charters, there are some truly adorable shops here.
This is going to be the new motto of our channel.
Because this is a fishing village, you can buy smoked fish, especially whitefish, which is common to Michigan and the Great Lakes. There's even a tasty cheese sandwich shop we ate at.
Yeah, I really like the food.
Oh, and one last thing about this area.
Can't say you see this every day.
Let us know if you've been to the Sleeping Bear Dunes. Special thanks to our friend Jackie. You know who you are, and you are awesome. In our next few videos, we're finally heading to the UP. Get ready for pictured rocks. We'll see you on the trails or in the water.